Hey guys, it's Ismail from Zanko Jewelers and welcome back to another watch review. Today we're looking at something we've actually seen before on the channel, but we thought we ought to have another review of this watch because things have changed. This is the Patek Philippe Nautilus 5712 1A. So in my hands here is the 5712 1A. This was the successor to the previous model, which was the 3712 that was released for only a production year of 1 year between 2005 and 2006. Since then, we've just had the 5712 1A. But what has changed, and as mentioned since our last review, is the fact that this watch is now discontinued as of February this year. So with a production year of 19 years and this one being dated 2025 specifically, this is one of the last of its kind. Now, jumping into the aesthetics of this watch, it follows a very classic Nautilus line of having a 40mm case with an 8.52mm thin case thickness. That makes it very easy to slip under the cuff, and I would say it's similar to the 5711 1A in case thinness, and that's really what Nautilus is all about. It also has the infamous octagonal shape for the bezel, which is also synonymous with Gerald Genter's original design after he had left Audemars Piguet in the 70s. As with other Nautilus models, you'll notice that this one also has the embossed horizontal lines. This dial in particular is a deep blue graduated dial into a deeper black or navy blue, which sometimes in the light can change, and I would say definitely in direct light it looks very blue, but at nighttime it can almost look grey or black. Now, one thing about the 5712 1A which I love compared to, for example, the 5711 is that there's much more to look at. In terms of the dial, there's red and white accents that I think make for a nice contrast, and that's also balanced out nicely with the moonphase, which I think, definitely adds a bit of interest to the dial compared to just a normal date and hours function. So to get more in detail on the dial, there's a small second sub-dial at 4 o'clock, a moonphase indicator at 7 o'clock, and a power reserve indicator at 10 o'clock, which is asymmetric. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I think it definitely makes for an interesting dial to look at. From 2022 onwards, one thing to note is that this watch does have the new Nautilus butterfly clasp, which works on a spring action, so you just press in the buttons and the clasp opens up quite easily. It's quite a nifty piece of kit compared to the old bracelets and old clasp, which was a Nautilus fold-over clasp, and it's notoriously hard to pull apart. In terms of the technical specifications of this watch has a movement caliber 240 PS IRM C LU that features, as mentioned before, the four kind of functions that we were looking at, which is the power reserve indicator, the moonphase, the small seconds, and the calendar date. You can change those functions simply by using a pusher on each side of the case, which you'll see small inserts for. So it is quite easy to set and not that hard to mess up, similar to maybe a perpetual calendar, for example. This movement in particular is made of 265 individual components and has a power reserve of 48 hours, which you'll see at the 10 o'clock. So once the watch is fully wound, it should, or the ticking hand should go all the way to 48 hours. I think that's more than substantial for a watch like this, which I would consider a daily watch. And another thing to make it even more of a daily watch is the fact that it has 30 meters of water resistance, which I think is more than substantial again. Now, since our last review, one thing that will also have changed is the market price. These watches in particular have shot up, especially since its discontinuation, which is something that wasn't the case when it was first discontinued. For the first month to 3 months, the watch has actually stagnated in price in the secondary market, but we've seen towards the latter end of summer that this watch is starting to increase in price very quickly. So when you have the chance and you are looking for this piece, I would say to definitely pick it up. So to give a bit more context about the market price, it retailed at £44,410, but for a brand new example like this 2025, you'll be able to pick it up around £120,000 to £125,000. There is quite a large premium, but I would say that is justified. And if we were to look at it from the perspective of the 5711 1A that was discontinued in 2021, if this is to follow suit of the 5711, then I can only see it going one way as an investment, and that would be upwards. So definitely something worth thinking about. Now, this isn't the only 5712 to have been discontinued. The 5712R on the leather strap and the 5712G as well on the leather strap have both been discontinued, and that was a few years ago. Now, the only one in production is the 5712 1R, which is the full rose gold or 18 karat rose gold bracelet and case. The 5712 1R in particular can be picked up now around £180,000. So even with the rose gold piece that has started to increase in price. And I think that's because the 5712 1A has been discontinued. So people are starting to guess whether or not they'll keep the 5712 in production. With my concluding thoughts, I would say this Nautilus 5712 1A is 100% one of the more revered Nautilus models ever made. And that's to do with mainly the function, but the fact that it's also in a stainless steel case. And in my opinion, with the current price movement of this watch and the discontinuation, meaning they'll never make this watch again, it's definitely worth looking into buying now before the price goes up too much. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see more Patek Philippe models or Nautiluses on the channel, put your post notifications on, and I'll see you in the next review.